Welcome to the Power of Your Mind podcast. I'm Victoria Gallagher, your host. Have you been attempting to use law of attraction or hypnosis to attract financial abundance, a soulmate, or career success? Would you like to be happy, motivated, and successful? Have better health, enjoy more fulfilling relationships, overcome struggle, and gain mastery over your life? Then join me on this amazing self-help podcast where you'll unleash the power of your mind. I'll be sharing 20 years of wisdom and techniques of hypnotherapy, law of attraction, visualization, meditation, personal growth, positive affirmations, and other effective methods to help you tap into the great power which resides in your mind and become the best version of yourself. Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. You're listening to episode number 90. I'm Victoria Gallagher, Law of Attraction coach, #1 best-selling author of Practical Law of Attraction. Align yourself with the manifesting conditions and successfully attract your desires. I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist, founder of HipTalk.com and HypnoCloud apps. So be sure to stop by HipTalk.com, sign up for your free self-hypnosis video training course. And for our listeners who found us through Power of Your Mind podcast, you can get 35% off your first order of hypnosis downloads when you apply the code podcast to your shopping cart. Also, be sure to download our latest HypnoCloud app from the iTunes and Google Play stores. So today I have a very special guest with me, Aubree Nichols. Aubree Nichols is a self-advocate and published writer who has been featured in The Week, Elite Daily, Observer, and more. She is becoming a resident voice in the self-love movement and has set her intention to illuminate the darkness so that others may live in the light in everything that she does. And today, Aubree is going to be sharing some of her insights about some of my favorite things: positive thinking, affirmations, and meditation. So welcome to the show, Aubree.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you here. Yeah, so you just took a dive into the Los Angeles, is it the Santa Monica Ocean, or where were you?
Pacific Ocean.
Pacific Ocean.
I find it's a good way to regulate myself and just get myself straight. All the ocean ions, it activates the vagus nerve, it resets my nervous system. And so I'm 4 months here in LA. But I spent almost 2 decades, 20 years in New York. So New York City, and my nervous system is still healing.
I can imagine. That is quite a change from New York to LA. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have some similarities. I mean, a lot of heavy traffic, a lot of people. But yeah, I as far as the hustle and bustle and getting around, and I can imagine that's quite a shock to the system to live there for as long as you did.
Yeah.
So tell us, you mentioned the vagus nerve, and that's been something that I've been hearing that buzzword a lot, and I think that our listeners would probably benefit from knowing a little bit more about how that works. So I'm curious if you could just kind of give us a little bit of understanding when you said that jumping in the ocean is one of those things that helps to activate that.
So your vagus nerve is like, from what it's like sort of at the frontal, this part of your face, like sort of running through your nose and the top of your head, and it's like it's a nervous system reset. And I actually dated a guy who was a biohacker, and he had a cryotherapy chamber, like a studio, and then I realized that when I got in the ocean, I experienced the same thing that I experienced with the cryotherapy, that it was like a nervous system reset. Like, I mean, for me, my vice is coffee. So sometimes I drink too much coffee, sort of like innately is my like anxiety / excitement. Sometimes it just gets a little overwhelming. So it was like, well, even taking a cold shower. Yeah. There's a friend of mine, Jesse Harless, who wrote a book about, he had gotten sober and he took a cold shower every day the first 2 years of his recovery. And it was like a game changer for him.
Yeah. So that's a lot of people are doing that these days.
Yeah.
With the cold showers, the cryotherapy, on over my 50th birthday week, I had a list of like all these things I had never tried before. That was on the list. Somehow or another, it didn't work out. That one just didn't work out. I was about to do it. I came so close to trying the cryotherapy. But yeah, just for whatever reason, I can't remember what it was. It just didn't work out. But those are, so those are some of the things that you do also that kind of help keep you centered.
Yeah, keep me centered. And I find that since I've moved to the West Coast, I'm surrounded by nature and flowers and, real grass, and all of these things. I think call it like earthing. Earthing is sort of our grounding down. I think the ocean is a way, it's a reset. It lets me know how I'm really feeling. Like if I'm tired, I'll be lulled into tired. If I'm not tired, it'll reset me and give me some energy back. Like, it's sort of like, it helps me start my period. If it's sort of needs some coaxing along, it's like it centers me. So,
that's wonderful. That's a good thing to have, just to be able to almost have that in your backyard and just be able to just go jump into the ocean. I love that.
Yeah.
And I could see as your hair is like drying, you don't have like crazy hair like me, to where if I don't like straighten out every last little strand of hair, I would look like a wild woman if I just let my hair drip dry. So you're very fortunate that you could just do that.
Don't speak too soon. It's just like, yeah.
We'll see what happens after we've been talking in half an hour.
I know.
So let me ask you about positive thinking and affirmations and meditation. Like, what got you interested in the positive thinking movement, if you will?
Yeah. So for me, I am like 15 years of recovery from drugs and alcohol. Had sort of had an eating disorder history as well since I was like 6 years old. It was kind of intense.
Wow.
I'm 42 now. So for me,
I would never ever put you at 42. I'd be like maybe 24, the other way around.
Yeah. Lived a little bit, and for me, what is I was going to 12-step programs, and I really wasn't getting that much out of it. So they were around like year 9. I felt like it was like a little negative feedback loop. It wasn't very positive, and I wasn't experiencing it as positive. And so then I started to do I went to Equinox, the gym that they have, in New York. And I started to do this workout class called Intense Sati. And Intense Sati was founded by Patricia Moreno. And it's a combination of like Tony Robbins meets high impact cardio. And so you're like, doing all these crazy punching moves while saying out loud, like, I am powerful beyond measure. I am stronger than I think. I am braver than I seem. Like, I'm blessed with all I need. All these positive mantras and affirmation paired with the movement. And what I started to realize, and at that time I was going through a divorce. And so so what I realized is that all of these positive affirmations and thoughts started to crowd out all the negative things that had been looping in my brain for so long that I actually thought were true. And they weren't true. They were just programs that had been passed down from probably my grandma to my mom to me. And I picked them up and was just carrying them around. And I realized, this is really interesting. For me, it was really the affirmation paired with the movement that allowed me to embody these new beliefs about myself. And it was a game changer for me because it sort of put the 12-step programs in their place. It put a lot of these labels that I had been donning for so long, they kind of went away. And what it said to me is I can rewire my brain and train it like a muscle. And I have a lot of power over what thoughts I choose to energize in my brain.
We're in such synchronicity, because it's going to be kind of like mind blowing. So I was literally half an hour before we got on this call, I was talking on one of my live channels about not just doing your affirmation, not saying them, but actually putting some, I don't know what just happened here, putting some movement to the affirmations. And I don't know, I couldn't necessarily tell you the scientific explanation for why I feel like that works. But for me, I've been doing the miracle morning. Are you familiar with how? Yeah. So I've been doing that. And, so, you start off with the 20 minutes. I do 20 minutes of silence in the morning meditation. And then I go into the affirmations and it's savers. And so I go into the affirmations, but, just like sitting there trying to quietly say my affirmations, I'm not feeling them. So I got up and I'm pacing back and forth. And I'm also getting my Fitbit steps at the same time. But it's helping, it's kind of waking me up, and it's helping me to find the feeling in, of the affirmation rather than just kind of sitting there reading them quietly. And so it's just so interesting that we're having this conversation about that exact thing right now.
Well, it's so according to Patricia, and I always, this is really important now since I've moved to LA and to the West Coast, and there's much more driving, a lot less walking. So I find that I'm like creatively, I'm just not as creative like I was in New York because I'm not moving as much. But in the inherent in the word emotion is motion, right? And at least for me, when I need to I am a somatic person. I experience the world through my body. I need to get my body moving to whatever's in there to sort of get it shaking around so then I can have something to react to.
That is very cool. That's very cool. So you noticed that as you were saying and doing these affirmations along with the kickboxing type of movements and things like that it was really transforming your set point of how you thought and how you felt. Yeah,
absolutely. And it was a tool. I was going through grad school at the time. Like I said, I was going through a divorce. And I would literally Tony Robbins, and I haven't gone to any of his events, but I just sort of borrow from all my friends that have, is that, it allows me to be master of my state. So I'm stressed out and my body's crunched up. I'm trying to write, a research paper. I'm like, hold on. This isn't working at all. I've got to change my physiology so I can change my psychology. So I go into the bathroom and I start doing some of these moves, or, before first date, I put on music and then I strut down the street like Beyonce, it's or the power pose, Amy Cuddy's. It's so I just, again, movement is so powerful, at least for me, to be able to just change the channel, like, change the scene. And it's not something, I think, as all of us are just constantly like thinking that the more time that we spend doing something, the better it will be. The more time we are working, sitting at our desk, that we'll get it all done and get caught up. But I think like breaks and especially state changing breaks are important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. And it's not about quantity, it's about quality.
That is right. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean,
I love
you
that.
could say your affirmations 1,000 times, but if it's not getting absorbed into your being and into your subconscious, and it's not if you're not feeling it, then it's kind of it's kind of a waste. You could say an affirmation, I believe, if you said it the right way, you could say it one time and it could change everything. I mean, I'm just assuming you would agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, also another part of my, I guess, practice and around positive psychology and sort of mastering my mind is like doing the morning pages and just, getting up, journaling, 3 pages, stream of consciousness, no judgment about what I put on the page. Also setting my intentions for that day, but really from a present tense place where like I am energetic, I am focused, I am, grateful, I am creative. And then even like when I'm talking about my goals, like these goals, like I want to be a best-selling author, but actually calling up that feeling of what would it feel like if I was a best-selling author and saying it in the present tense, or not even the present tense, like it's done tense, like, wow, I am so
like that's
happy.
in the past.
I am so happy and grateful that I have become a best-selling author that is like spreading the message of self-love to women everywhere, to giving them to love themselves. I am so happy I've been able to do that. So just, and that's, if none of that's been done yet, but really trying to plug into what it would feel like if that was done.
Yeah, I just love the way your eyes and your face lit up as you're really you are like tuned into that feeling right now. I love that. That's awesome. So are you writing a book right now, or have you written a book that would be a best-selling book?
Yeah, so I'm working. I've been revised a proposal twice. I've been working on it for 4 years now, and getting an agent. And so the book is titled Enough: How I Stopped Searching, Starving, and Striving and Became the Woman of My Dreams.
Oh, that gave me chills. I love that. Enough. How I stopped searching, striving, and
striving.
Okay. And became the woman of my dreams. Ooh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's really just, it's a memoir with a little sprinkle of how-to that's, it basically looks at my lifetime, a lifetime of filling my insides with the outsides, from the drug addiction to the eating disorders to this perfectionism, unavailable men, all the things I thought would make me whole. And, the final straw was walking down the aisle to a man who had like the houses and the rings and all those things. And I thought I could hand over my emptiness to him. But he could love me for me, and that's just not how it goes.
Yeah.
And so, my divorce was my wake-up call, but my salvation that allowed me to get on this journey of self-love, and that was 4 years ago.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's quite, that's definitely, you've made this cross-country move, you've gotten divorced, you've gotten clean, you're writing this book. I mean, you're definitely onto amazing things, which really is a testament to this work that you're committed to doing. And, so
I think it's like, I never knew that what was going on in my brain, I could challenge it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I mean, even as I'm falling asleep, it's not like I don't have the negative thoughts. I do, but it's just like, if I'm gonna like think about all of the million ways things can go wrong, then I've got to think about all the million ways things could go right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, and that's becoming pretty much a reflex right now. So if the negative thinking comes up, which it always does, it's like, okay, well, that's interesting, but like, how could you champion yourself right now, Aubree? So I think it's just like exactly what you're all about, is really manifesting what you want to see into existence.
Absolutely. And none of what we believe is true, the positive or the negative. But I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook, and I felt bad for him. So we kind of went through, he just kind of made a very blanket statement about, women are batshit crazy. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear on my podcast, but hey, it's my podcast. Call the podcast police. I don't know. I guess I can, because I heard somebody else swear the other day. I normally don't, but I'm paraphrasing something that he said. He said, women are batshit crazy. And okay, listen, I've been to Crazy Town. I think we've all been to Crazy Town, right? But that doesn't mean that, that doesn't mean that all women, this is such a generalization. But the problem with that statement is that he's going to continue to attract women that match up with that belief system. And you can believe whatever you want. You can believe whatever you want. So it's just getting back to the things that maybe you were believing about yourself at that time before you took this on. I mean, none of those beliefs, that you had were true. So
I know.
We do have to challenge. If you find value in this personal growth related material, I strongly recommend that you sign up for your $1 trial to my Personal Growth Club. Just head on over to personalgrowthclub.com and get a whole month of premium Personal Growth Club video training materials, meditations. You also get 6 free hypnosis sessions that are valued at over $174, all for this trial of just $1. Even if you cancel, you can keep the 6 hypnosis sessions. That's my gift to you. And that's how confident I am that you are going to love Personal Growth Club. Go to personalgrowthclub.com and start your $1 1-month trial today.
Well, it's interesting. I wonder I know you're asking questions, but I wonder what you would say, because I feel like now that I have certain beliefs that have shifted about myself, but I really think that there needs to be a lot of work done around, I am believing I'm deserving of receiving the fruits of those labors, like whatever, am I really worthy of being seen as a best-selling author, or having tons of money in my savings account, all of these things. And so I think that's where my work is right now. It's really believing that I'm someone, not all of those other people out there, but I'm a woman who's deserving of all of these things. And
Absolutely.
I'm to receive it.
And so was there a question? Is there a question in there?
Like, how do you shift that? I mean, is that more affirmations? Is that,
I think, it's a really good question. And I think it's a question that most people do struggle with is like that you have to earn it, or you have to be something or do something in order to, to earn that. And I think what it is, it just really comes down to really connecting with whatever that higher part of you is, that like however you came and arrived into this earth, to this world, to the universe, you already were worthy and deserving of everything that this whole world has to offer you. You already, just as a being, just as a human that came into this existence, you have that. And so there's just, it's a matter of peeling away the parts of you that maybe you haven't forgiven, or that you haven't trusted, or that, it's just peeling those things away and getting to the core of the person that, that the soul that absolutely we're all worthy.
Right. That's true. I guess if I were to think about, like I told you, my baby sister is being induced right now to think about her little girl coming into the world today, which is so amazing. And
that is,
ever deny her of anything that she wanted.
Yeah. And if you could see yourself like that, if you could just, there's an innocent being inside of you that came into this universe to experience all there is to experience. I'm really into, Think and Grow Rich, but the science of getting rich, and how he talks about, that all of the things in this entire universe were really put here for all of us to enjoy. I mean, it wouldn't be here, so we're meant to go to all of the places and see and appreciate all and have all the things and learn all the things. We're meant for all that glory, but it just gets stifled because all the people around you and around me, and they all say that money is the root of all evils, and you have to work hard, and they just continue to just infiltrate the your innocent self, your innocent feelings, and just put all these beliefs into you that at some level we buy into beliefs every moment of every day. We're always buying into someone else's belief system that we didn't come up. This wasn't our original idea. It just gets passed down from one person to another. And, but if you looked at yourself as that innocent child and you say, you deserve everything that this life has to offer. And what do I have to do to just kind of peel away the pains and the sabotage and the guilts and all of the things that are just kind of just it's just garbage. You just get rid of that and get down to who you really are.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. So on that note, I want to know, we talked about what it is that makes you feel most alive.
Well, definitely like music, being outside, being at the beach, really being like in the moment. I'm trying to think. Yeah, lately it's like being a human among humans, and without really thinking about what they think of me, or not even me sort of above the experience, sort of narrating it, or with all this chatter, just really being in the moment. Yeah, that's a big one for me right now. meditation makes me feel most alive. Again, because I usually meditate, there's like with guided meditation, but there's music. But whenever I'm heart-centered, whenever I feel like my head and my heart and my body are all working together, and my fingers when I'm writing, and a lot of times I'm crying. And that's when I feel most alive. Because I just feel, I'm an empath. I do research for a living, a lot of brand and consumer research and talent assessment inside organizations. So always dealing with people. I think that, just being able to tap into the emotions of myself and to others was when I feel most alive.
Yeah. It is our emotions, really. If you think about it, that brings the meaning to life in a way. If we just we're just going through life and we're not connected in any kind of emotional way, that we're not really experiencing life.
Mm-hmm.
So It really makes sense. It really makes sense that, it's when you're feeling most connected to your emotional self and doing the things that are helping you to arrive at that feeling.
Yeah. And what makes me feel like most dead is like Excel spreadsheets or I hate, like politics talk or or like data or numbers. It's just like, if you want to look at me like check out almost immediately, it's like small talk. I'm like, oh, really? Are we really going to do this?
Yeah. I'm not.
It's sunny outside, or it's rainy outside. Can we get down to something that matters?
I know exactly what you mean. I am not as turned off personally. I'm a little geeky, a little nerdy. So I'm okay with my Excel spreadsheets, but I'm not into the small talk either. There's just so many wonderful things to talk about, so many meaningful things to talk about. And so I'm with you. I'm 100% with you there. So if you could change one thing about yourself, what would that be?
One change. Okay. So I would think I would change. Well, it's hard for me to sit still. And that is a combination of just how I'm wired. And then I've been in a lot of like traumatic sort of events throughout my life. Sort of the normal, but like also abnormal ones that more like sort of make me want to be like always moving and vigilant. So yeah, I really wish that I was able to sit still more and be a more relaxed human being.
So meaning like, do you mean like you have trouble sort of like staying focused and present on a particular
that too
activity? Okay.
No, that too. But but I think it's like,
or you just get fidgety if you're sitting down too long.
Yeah, it just takes a long time for me to get settled in.
Yeah.
And like it's so I think that's one reason, and it's because I really like working and settling in. It just is such a process to get me there. But I think that, I don't know, maybe I'll get a dog or cat. That might change things.
Right.
I moved in with roommates. I've noticed that I'm getting a little chiller. Like they're a married couple. So I'm living with people now, which is interesting because I lived for so long. I lived alone. But I think, yeah, I'm seeing some shifts.
Yeah. So you do coaching, correct? You do.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you were going to give yourself coaching advice on, what you could do to, to stay more present with yourself, or, not to stay more present, to overcome that feeling that you have of like not being able to sit down, sit in one place very long. Like, what would you say to yourself?
That's a great question. What I would say is, what I mean is sitting still with like the deep thought work and what I would say is don't even try it until 4 p.m.
Okay.
That's
Know your time that works better for you.
I'm a morning person, but I'm so energetic in the morning that I need to be like working out, sending like rapid fire emails. Like that's not the time when I should be doing this sort of like contemplative, slow, like thoughtful writing, because it's just not I love doing stuff in the morning. I get so much done. Like I don't even pretend I like around 6, I don't know, like 8 p.m. it's a wrap. Like 8 p.m. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I just really love the morning times because they're so productive for me. So maybe I could like, I think that's what I would do. And then like 4 p.m. I'm like tired enough to where my inner critic has just like taken a nap.
Yeah.
And then, it's a good time for me. So maybe that's what I would do is plan.
Yeah. And I think it's important that we plan around our own clocks, that we are able to get in touch with what times of the day. I've kind of got this thing going with me. Like I actually take it to a different level. I'm upstairs in my studio. This is my area where I do my recordings and my interviews, and and it's my kind of my creative zone. And so I'm up here usually from 1 o'clock. And that's why my podcasts are usually scheduled in the afternoon, because I know for me in the morning, I'm a digit head and I'm downstairs and I'm doing my Facebook marketing and I'm doing my email responding and, so great. Yeah. And I literally have a different space where I do that, although it's colder downstairs in the winter. And so sometimes I kind of cheat and I come up here and I do my digit head stuff. And I don't want to bring that energy in here though. So I need to like get that. It's starting to warm up again. It's going to be 80 degrees this week. So I'll be able to get that. But, so I've learned that about myself though. And if I ever let somebody talk me into doing interviews or having to do something with my voice at 10 a.m., the day kind of goes sideways, and it's not how it's meant to be for me. So you have to, you have to have these little boundaries, I think, about what, and you get almost like you get that energy anchored into your system to where if you're taking on that writing and you're doing your writing at a certain time in the day, the creative ideas are going to come to you that much more, because it's like your body just starts to expect it at that time.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're talking about this. I mean, and also like what I do a lot of like, I track my cycle and my monthly cycle, and sort of like, the first couple weeks when estrogen is on the rise are definitely more generative. It's more like, let's get out there, let's meet people, make connections, let's come up with all these cool article ideas. But the second half of my cycle is more like, let's put on some sweatpants and get her done. You know what I mean? Like,
I never tuned into where I'm at with my cycle in regard to what's going on with my thoughts and my energy. So that's something I'm going to definitely pay a little bit more attention to.
No, it's fascinating. I mean, because as a woman, our hormonal makeup is different on every single day of the month. Men have no idea. I mean, like, no, but so if you sort of ride that wave with your creativity, sort of when you want to ask, when you want to have those big meetings, when you want to do a photo shoot, like, it's really interesting. It's like your face is most symmetrical, like right the day prior to or on ovulation day, because your body is almost trying to like find someone where you could get pregnant. I mean, sort of like at on a biological level. That's why your body, like, it's usually women are like happier with their body around that time. They have more energy. Their estrogen is like, it's like oozing out of their system.
Hello, this is Victoria Gallagher. I hope you're enjoying listening to the Power of Your Mind podcast. As a way of thanking you for listening, I'd like to offer you a one-time discount of 35% off your first order at hiptalk.com. Just go to hiptalk.com and enter the code PODCAST in the discount code area in your cart, and you'll receive 35% off your first order. Thank you so much for listening to the Power of Your Mind podcast. Wow, that's interesting.
So, but your PMS...
I see another book. After you're done with writing the one book, I definitely see you writing a book about this, because this is something I think women need to, and even men, just to understand women a little bit better. But I think that, having a book that kind of gives you that guidance on how you can really, just play with the natural cycles of your body. A long time ago, there was a book on weight loss, and I've pretty much read all of them throughout my life. But this one, and I never really got through it, but I knew that it was going to be talking about how you can actually use your cycle to eat sort of what you want during those times, during certain times. Yeah. And it was something like the women's advantage, or I can't remember, something about taking advantage though of that time. So it'd be interesting to know all the other things that are enhanced and improved maybe during that time. And I know it affects like physical activity when you're running or doing yoga or, things of that nature. So, well, I definitely see another book in your future, because you've brought that up a couple of times. One other quick thing I meant to mention it when you were talking about your morning pages, just to revisit that for a second, because a few people actually do still, bring, I've heard people bring that up. And I just wanted to mention that is an exercise. It's an amazing, amazing exercise in the book, The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. And so this, the main things are those morning pages, and then the artist date. So do you do the artist date?
I think that's probably just baked into who I am. I know that novelty is something that I highly, something I value. If I get too stuck doing the same thing every day, all the time, so I work for myself, I need to mix it up for sure. Like, I'm getting itchy. Like I might go to Ojai on Saturday and Sunday just to check it out. Cause I can tell when it's just like, I need a break from the normal get up work, even though the work I'm doing is so great. But I just find how those artist dates and just for the listeners, the idea of the artist date is like once a week you take yourself, like, I don't know, to a movie, to a museum, for a walk on the beach, just like for no other reason, just to, take your artist out to see something new see something new or experience something different. And yeah, like I think I do that. That's pretty baked into my life because that's something. And these things that we've been talking about, Victoria, are pretty interesting. And I think that what I would say to anyone who's listening, and sort of definitely on the theme of self-love, which is what what I believe to be like heals all, is like without judgment. Like these are all things that work for me, working at 4 p.m., that thoughtful writing, or for you, doing the digit head stuff in the morning. It's, jumping on the mini trampoline, getting in the ocean, listening to music, whatever those things are that work for me. I've learned to just over the years, just not judge them.
Yeah.
It's not like, and believe me, they've changed too. So I thought, if these things work for me, then I'll be like too rigid and I won't be able to incorporate anyone into my life, because I'm single and I'm always like thinking about that. But it's not true. It's just being really aware of what works for me in my process and like just embracing it. And like every sort of artist from Leonardo da Vinci to like Beethoven, to like Jay-Z, they all have rituals and behaviors that sort of set up the work that they do. And they're all equally as weird.
Yes, exactly.
And regimented and,
it's
so
really true. And like, even, think of even athletes, when the pitcher is about to pitch, he does a little tiny little ritual. Totally. Or a golfer does a little ritual. And so we all have to embrace our own ritual, whether it's spending an hour in the morning meditating or spending 5 minutes calling somebody before you're about to do something, or whatever weird and zany, whatever gets it done for you, whatever gets you into your authentic creative space, you have to honor that.
Yeah, absolutely. And build it in. So if you know that you have to tidy like an hour before you sit down to write, then build that into your creative process. Then you have to, and 2 hours to write, 1 hour to tidy. Or I like to add in like 30 minutes for all my like coffee and pee breaks that I take.
This is really good for me to hear you say that too, because I tend to, I create these monstrous to-do lists, and I should know better by now because they don't get done. I guarantee you they don't get done, and then it's either I just feel overwhelmed or I feel like or whatever, and it's because there, like you said, you need to build in some padding. You need to build in for the things that you need to do to set yourself up to do that and to break it down. There's a setup and there's a breakdown, right, for almost everything we do, but we don't even think of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm gonna make a recording in 20 minutes because it's a 20-minute audio. No. Not the way that it works.
Unfortunately. Believe me, every day I wake up, I do think I'm going to get everything done on my to-do list, but it's okay because I'm not.
It's okay. Love yourself anyway. That's the point, right? That's the point. Well, I really, really enjoyed this. Is like one of those conversations that I had no idea exactly how it was going to look. And we've already been talking for an hour, if you can believe that. Normally my podcasts go about maybe 45 minutes. My listeners know I've been keeping them at about 45 minutes. And then my husband is going to probably walk in the door any moment. So I'm worried that the garage door is going to go, and he's going to come in with groceries. And I am very fortunate to have a husband that does the grocery shopping. So, so I just want to kind of start to wrap up and see if there's any last final tips that you want to leave our listeners with, and also, let them know how they can get a little bit more information and maybe work with you?
Yeah, well, I think what I've learned and realized is really this relationship that we have with ourselves is foundational for everything else in our life. I mean, it's the jobs that we have, the company we keep, the food that we put in our body, the time we go to bed. It's like, so cultivating this loving relationship with like our heart and our soul and our inner child, it's like beyond self-care. It's like self-love. It's the answer. It's allow you to be a better person. It will help you be more compassionate in your relationships and empathetic. And so I'm learning as I go. I post a lot. I keep it really raw and real on my Instagram, which is Aubree Nichols, AUBREE.Nichols, NICHOLS. From there, you can find links to my website. But it's always a little bit of it's always like a show. It's fun. Keeps it light. We go deep too, but yeah. So you can check me out there, and definitely we'll let you know when the book comes out. And
yes,
yeah, that's it.
That's very cool. So yeah, let me just repeat some of the information here. So your website is aubreenicholls.com, AUBREENICHOLS.com. And that's going to be in the show notes. So you can just go to click that in the show notes. And then Instagram is aubree.nichols, right? Did I get that right? Aubree.Nichols. And then you also have your Facebook, Aubree Nichols 11 off of Facebook. Mm-hmm. And did you also mention that you wanted to give our listeners a little gift for getting in touch with you on your website?
Yeah. So if you reach out to me on my website or send me an email, we're going to be doing a drawing for a free coaching consult with me. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out via email.
Oh, awesome. That is a very generous offer. And so thank you so much. I really do believe in everything that you talked about here, in it coming down to really the self-love and letting go of the judgment and doing things that help connect you to your authentic, real, raw emotions and feeling good and finding ways to rid yourself of the beliefs that you've been holding on to that aren't true by using meditation and positive thinking and affirmations. So thank you for being on the show. I really wish you a lot of luck with your book.
Yeah, thank you so much, Victoria. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You too. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with your friends. And once again, be sure to subscribe to the Power of Your Mind podcast if not already. We can be found as Hip Talk on all our social media accounts. So like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, and sign up for your free self-hypnosis video training course at hiptalk.com. Be sure to subscribe to the Power of Your Mind podcast, and you'll be instantly notified the moment the next podcast becomes available. Also, please be sure to leave a rating and a review to tell us how you're enjoying these episodes, and that way you're making a contribution toward others getting to share in this valuable information. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. You've been listening to the Power of Your Mind podcast, brought to you by HipTalk.com, Personal Growth Club, and HypnoCloud apps available at iTunes.